What's up guys, it's Darius, and today I'm bringing you guys another Final Fantasy 15 video, and this video is actually going over a bunch of information we just got from the new Game Informer that's actually covering Final Fantasy 15. They said that they actually got a very good insight and exclusive look into the game and development of what's going on, and they have interviews with everyone that's working on the game as well, so expect coverage from them throughout the week. But right now, if you have your issue of this Game Informer, there's a bunch of information in it, and right now I'm just going to be reading off 25 facts or points from the actual cover or the coverage of the game in Game Informer. So number one, the team was starting Final Fantasy 15, the brand image wasn't very clear, which is very expected because they were trying to start over from scratch in terms of switching from verses 13 to 15. The next fact is that Tabata believes the franchise can't move forward without setting pride aside. He knows fans will still have hope in where the series could go, and I totally agree with him. You can't expect the series to grow or know where it stands if you don't try something new, and besides that, I mean, if you try the same thing over and over again, eventually people are going to get tired of it, and it's going to just be less successful every time. We've seen that with multiple franchises, so I think that's the reason why I and a lot of other people are excited that this game is not just the same old. The next fact is that Tabata and his team at Business Division 2 identified 3 core qualities they believe define Final Fantasy brand: challenging the status quo, providing an exceptional experience, and using cutting-edge technology. He thinks 7 was the last game in the series to use all 3 points. 15 is a make-or-break moment, a chance to bring back lapsed fans and new ones into the fold. And I definitely agree with that as well. A lot of people consider 7 to be the best Final Fantasy game to be released, and I think it's because of those 3 things that he mentioned. It really did set itself apart and also reached a new audience all the way out in America. That's really the one that brought 7 full steam over to the West. So even though Final Fantasy is over in the West, hopefully it can bring more people to the series who haven't ever tried it before. The next fact is that when moving to 15, the game disconnected from the Fabula Nova Crystallis. Additionally, Stella from Versus 13 was shifted significantly, and while the team tried to keep as much as they could from the original concepts, they took this opportunity to shape 15 into a full range of imagination. So yeah, we've already known that before. Stella was basically replaced with Luna because they felt that the mood or the way that Stella and Luna actually acted were very different, and they wanted to differentiate the two because there was a difference between the two versions of the game. The next fact is that 15's story focuses on friendship and destiny and legacy. We already known that from the start. Now this next fact is actually a little bit spoilery, so if you don't want to know, then you can kind of just skip over this part maybe, or just not watch the rest of the video because there are a little bit more spoilers in here. Next fact is that as soon as you start the game, there's a battle in a location yet to be revealed. This is similar to 2, where you start the game right with a boss battle. It also acts as a tutorial before going into chapter 1. Now this is actually interesting because if you watch the anime, which I've yet to do a reaction video for, I don't know if I'll do it or not, but when I do, it'll be uploaded, obviously. But there's actually a scene in that episode 1, that actually might give a sort of context or reveal what that first boss might be and who you're fighting with. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. That just goes to show that the anime is very important to watch. The next fact is that chapter 1 picks up right after the opening sequence with Noctis and friends on the road to Alticia. The Regalia breaks down in the region of Lade, and the party has to get out and push the car to the nearest station. This is the first area where players will encounter the open world. So yeah, that's basically another spoiler as to what's going to happen in the game. The next fact is that early on, Noctis and friends meet both with Sid and Sydney, and she tasks them with several quests while the car is being repaired. And this is obviously probably actually where episode Dust Guy comes in, because this is very similar to what happens. You know, the guys bring the car to Sydney, and while she's repairing the car, they go on multiple missions to not only gather money but just to explore the world. The next fact is that Final Fantasy fantasy based on reality idea is still intact. At the Hammerhead Station, an instrumental version of Neil Young's Heart of Gold can be heard playing in the background. Now, you know, this has obviously been known before, but this just reiterates to me like how much I love this idea, because while at the same time I like to see realistic games, it's even better to see. I love fantasy games, things that don't exist, but when you're able to actually mix those two together, it's awesome because not only are you getting the fantasy stuff you've never seen before and like the amazing ideas people come up with, but you're tying it into something that you're actually familiar with. So when you're hearing songs and seeing locations or seeing cars and things happen that you've seen, but also mixed in this world where stuff isn't happening, it just makes you want to be in that world even more. The next fact is that the beginning of the game is said to be heavy with familiar imagery before bending things toward fantasy and wonder. The next fact is there are dialogue choices in the game that lead to different outcomes. For example, Noctis was able to ask his friends for advice rather than asking for a discount or a loan from Sydney. The reward for these options seem to revolve around status bonuses similar to eating or resting. Again, this was probably something we were going to be able to do in episode Duskai, but they didn't want to reveal this. So I'm guessing instead of us having to beat the behemoth, which was a very long mission, we could have actually just asked Sydney to let us go, or ask for like I don't know, some sort of payment plan or whatever, and that would actually affect the gameplay. So that's pretty cool. What else is there? Oh yeah, the next fact is that combat has been improved since the demo. Controls are more responsive and the weapons can be swapped on the fly using the D-pad. Game Informer saw tabs for swords, daggers, lances, firearms, shields, royal arms, and elemental spells. There was also a category named machines though their purpose is unknown. So yeah, we actually knew about this from a long time ago. There are obviously different weapons and whatnot, but we don't know what machines are yet. Maybe that includes the regalia since it's able to fly now. The next fact is that magic spells are collected like a resource and can be recharged at various places on the map. Think Final Fantasy VIII's draw system. And we knew about this before, that magic is actually collected through resources, and we expect them to be upgraded because we saw in one of the gameplay clips at the Uncovered event that there was Noctis using Blizzara, and obviously you just don't start with Blizzara. So yeah, that was kind of well known if you actually looked at the clip and saw he was using Blizzara. Next is that the regalia, the car, has a trunk that acts as a party storage. You may need to pay money to gas up from time to time, but the cost isn't crazy. The car radio plays remixes of Final Fantasy themes such as the first Final Fantasy. Now we knew about this radio because they actually went over this in the covered event, but they didn't actually reveal that the trunk can be used as sort of like a storage system. We actually did know, if you actually looked at the clip again from the Uncovered event, that you would have to fill up for gas because there was a clip of Noctis leaning on the regalia as he was filling up the car with gas. So yeah, just some stuff relating to regalia, which is pretty cool. The next fact is that on your way to your destination, Prompto may ask to stop and take a photo. His pictures can be seen during the camp and can be shared on social media. Should you continue to take pictures with Prompto, his photography skills will improve. So again, this was also something in episode Duskai, but I do love that you're able to share this on social media, because one of the things I'm loving with this current generation of consoles, specifically with PS4, is the share button, and I fully take advantage of the share button. I'm always sharing pictures on Facebook and videos as well. The next fact is that all 4 of the main characters have special talents. Noctis can fish, Ignis can cook, Gladio has survival instincts, and all of these can be leveled up by continued play. And again, we've seen this before acted out in the game with Noctis fishing in episode Duskai, Noctis cooking. The next fact is that when you call a summon, they won't always do the same thing. They are entities that exist in the world itself, so depending on the situation, they will do different things. For example, Titans sometimes will run up and hit the enemy. Sometimes he will throw boulders at the enemy, and it's possible he will even give up and leave the battle. They will also act differently in a dungeon than they will in the overworld. So yeah, that's pretty cool, that the fact that, every time you summon an enemy, it's not, just the same old. Hopefully the damn summon won't run away from you. But it's good to see that every time you summon it, it will act different. The next fact is that the black dog seen in the trailers is a faithful servant. Its name is Umbra. So yeah, the dog we've seen in the Dawn trailers his name is Umbra, so that's pretty cool. The next fact is that Noctis and his friends encounter Niflheim's Arden fairly early on while en route to Alticia. If you're not exactly sure who Arden is, I'm pretty sure he's the character with the purple hair that we had no idea who he was for the longest time, and with the cool hat. So yeah, that's that. That's who Arden is. The next fact is that there are 4 quest types. For fun, which can be fishing and chocobo racing, the main story, monster hunts, and regional quests. Currently there are over 200 quests in the game, with the team are working to add more. And that's really good news because I don't want this game to end anytime soon when I get it. Later on, you can synthesize magic to create more powerful versions like Blazara, which I mentioned before. The next fact is that weapons can also be improved with materials collected in the world and won from battles. The main way to improve yourself, however, is through ability points, which accumulate as you level up. And we kind of actually saw this in episode Dusk when you rested, when you chose to actually stay in a cabin, you can increase the amount of experience points you got throughout the day by a multiplier. So yeah, that's expected, but it's good to see that you can actually make more weapons, and hopefully ultimate weapon is an option. The next fact is that you have the choice in how you get to upgrade Noctis and his companions, like strengthening auto dodge or teaching them new commands. It's an effort to shape the player's playstyle. Now that whole point I just did, especially talking about strengthening auto dodge, I'm actually going to be talking about that a little bit probably in another video, comparing episode Dusk to the Platinum demo, and I might actually bring this up as a point because this is actually interesting going into what I wanted to talk about. The next fact is that Luna is the presence that supports Noctis in order for him to fulfill his destiny. She's also the type of heroine you want to meet but can't quite reach, and obviously that's going to play a big part into the story. There's obviously going to be some stuff getting in the way of the 4 guys on their way to try to reach Luna. The last fact is that Tabata has no intention to create sequels or anything out of this. He wants people to purchase the game and be able to enjoy it for a long period of time. That doesn't necessarily just mean additional content, but other things that create an interesting experience. And that's good to hear that they're trying to make the game as good as possible without trying to set up for, more content in the future. They're putting all of their resources and they're trying their hardest on the game as it is. So yeah, guys, that's basically about it. If you want to go in the comment section, let me know what your favorite fact or piece of information was, or what you can't wait for out of all the information I gave to you guys. Please do so. I will respond and talk to you guys and talk to other people in the comments. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share with other people who weren't aware of this information. And if you are new, please subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.